take our first guest, Elijah Bland, on the Midnight Hour radio show. Elijah, what's going on?
What's up, everybody? How you doing?
Oh, man,
How
we
you
having
doing,
a
Elijah?
ball.
Hey, thanks for having me, man. I really appreciate it.
Man, we have a ball every week. It ain't even work. Some people say it ain't work. To me, it's work, though. I know you know from being in the entertainment business.
Yes, sir.
Yep. I want to give a shout-out to Tim Yates.
What's going on, Tim?
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, man. So tell us about your music career.
Well, I'm a singer, songwriter, producer, musician, born and raised in Hackensack, New Jersey, which those who are not familiar with North Jersey, it's about 15 minutes outside of New York City. So New York has been my home market for as long as I can remember. I actually started playing piano when I was about 5, self-taught musician, and that was in the background of sports most of my childhood and adolescence, I guess, and all the way through college. Ended up playing college basketball, and while doing that, I was doing some home production. One of my teammates, actually, at the time when I was a freshman, he was a senior, and he was doing some, just basic production stuff and writing some songs, and he didn't play any instruments, so I would do like keyboard parts for him, and we would arrange some songs together and start writing some stuff. And it was a real good contrast because every day he would kick my butt off in practice.
Now, who you play for, Elijah?
And,
you know you got to represent your school.
I went to Assumption College. It's a D2 school in Massachusetts. We were pretty good while I was there, but it was a good run, man. I'm thankful for the experience, and I'm an athlete at heart, so that was a big part of what I was doing. But the brother that was playing ahead of me, his name is Richard EJ, and he was this dude was one of the most phenomenal athletes I've ever seen, and injuries got the best of him, and as they did me. But at that time, I was a freshman coming in. I'm thinking I'm gonna get some playing time, and the first game of the season, he dropped 39 on a nationally ranked team. We had NBA scouts there, and everything. I thought I've never seen the court after this. So it was an interesting experience. But like I said, after practice, we would go back to the dorm and work on some music. And I kind of got into my own stuff and got some equipment and scrapped up whatever I could as a college student and started working with a local record label, producing some tracks for their artists, and I started writing some songs for their R&B singers, and eventually I started doing some of my own stuff. And the engineer that we were working with invited me into the studio to just do some of my own stuff because he was like, this stuff sounded pretty good with the references you're doing. It's actually starting to sound better than the artist you're writing for. So it was encouraging, and I tried it, and people responded well, and 1 or 2 songs turned into a whole album, and the rest is where I'm at now. It's been a nice ride. 2 albums. I'm working on my 3rd, and riding a single that I put out last year called For the Record that seems to be really hitting people well. So I'm excited, man. It's a blessing to be an artist and to be able to share music with people that I've never even seen or couldn't physically touch without the internet. So it's definitely a nice ride, man. But that's pretty much my story in a nutshell.
Well, people listening to you all over the world right now on the Midnight Hour radio show, they're listening to you in 37 plus countries: Europe, Africa, Asia, the United States, all six of the 7 continents. They're listening to you.
Man, I'm thankful for that, brother. It's always a blessing.
But now, for some reason, athletes, they like music, because I know LeBron James got a studio out in his house in Akron, Ohio, and he spent some cheddar on it, so I don't know what it is with athletes and music. What's that all about?
I don't know, man. I mean, I guess I like to think that athletes are creative people, too. I mean, it's especially, I can speak mostly about basketball, but it's definitely a creative sport, and there's a lot of improv involved, and it takes extreme focus and discipline to condition yourself to be an athlete at any kind of high level. So I think our minds work a little bit differently than the average Joe, so to speak. But I think everybody has a gift, man, and if you're gifted in the realm of sports, it's not too far off from being gifted in music, I think. So I'm not surprised that there's a lot of overlap there.
Now, I have a question for you. This is Mike G talking to you. How you doing, Elijah?
What's What's up, brother?
I have a question for you. Can you explain to our listeners? I see that you performed at the Capitol Jazz Super Cruise.
Yes.
Explain to our listeners exactly what that is.
Well, the Capitol Jazz Super Cruise is derived from the Capitol Jazz Fest, which is 20-plus years running out of the Maryland, D.C., Virginia area. And Capitol Jazz Productions, headed by Cliff Hunt, they do a phenomenal job of bringing the top, jazz and soul artists from around the world every year. So there's a big jazz festival, and so I think it's 8 years ago now. They're coming up on, I think, on the 9th one this year. They started doing a cruise where it's, they have a whole cruise ship. It's been with Carnival Cruise Lines, I think, for the most part. It was when I did it. And it's, 3,000 people on the ship, and it's nothing but music.
Okay.
So it's the year I did it, I mean, it was overwhelming, the type of talent that was on that ship, man. And, we have, my venue was, the independent artists that a lot of the, real soul music fans and indie soul fans were familiar with. And, from our different fan bases around the country and the world, were invited to come. It was myself and Dombey, Chad Shepard, Geno Young, Algebra was one of the bigger ones on that circuit with the indie artists, and that venue was hosted by Eric Roberson. And Eric, he's kind of paved the way for a lot of us as indie soul artists to be successful as independents, or to, at least be encouraged to be successful.
Well, he's been on the show before.
Yeah, man. I mean, Eric, I got nothing but great things to say about that brother. I just, had a great conversation with him last week about, just how to balance the independent struggle with, the freedom of being independent. And it's really, he's really created a solid machine by himself with his small team. And I mean, it's really commendable to see what he's done with that. His brand is huge, man. I tip my hat to that brother, man. But and then but the talent on that cruise, I mean, for the headliners and the main stage, I mean, the late great George Duke.
He's been on the show before too.
Yes.
Dwele, Boney James, Yolanda Adams, Layla Hathaway, Gerald Albright, who I think is one of the most phenomenal performers I've ever seen. I told him, I had the opportunity to have dinner with him on the ship, and I told him he reminded me of James Brown with a saxophone. Because he really, I mean, his command of his band and his presence on stage, people hear that smooth jazz stuff and they think like, oh, just a little smooth jazz, elevator music. No. Go to Gerald Albright's show. You will be blown away.
Wow. For some reason, we got all the jazz people coming on lately. I'm not sure what it is, man. George Duke did his last interview here.
Man, but what I'm telling you, man, that is I can't say enough how much it meant to me to see him walk into the venue when I was about to do my show. Mm-hmm. I saw people coming in and they're like, all right, we're about to introduce you. And I'm like, all right, I'm cool. And, I don't get too nervous before shows. But to see George Duke walk into the room, and I know I'm about to go and play keys and sing on stage, I'm like,
and these are people that you listen to, and now you had the opportunity to be stuck on the boat with them. That was good.
It was. I mean, it's funny you say that because that's a unique experience with most, performance venues. People come and go, and then they'll go do their show, and they'll be in some kind of trailer or in the green room somewhere, or they'll just go back to their hotel or fly out, whatever. On the ship, I mean, for a good portion of the time, there's nowhere else to go. So we're just out in the middle of the ocean, and you're there with everybody. So, I mean, fans and artists alike, it's a really unique opportunity to
y'all ain't
interact
going
with people.
nowhere.
Right.
So it was really cool, man. It's definitely one of the most memorable experiences of my life, man. It changed me.
That's really awesome. It really is. Now, a lot of artists are out there, and they've had signature songs and signature performances that really took them to the top. And off of your Soul Centric catalog, you have what's called like an uplifting women's anthem. Yeah. Watch the mirror, love yourself. What can you explain? What was the message you were trying to convey to those listeners when you did that particular song?
That song was just honestly I felt the need to address something that I feel a lot of women either struggle with or maybe won't acknowledge, you know, and so I think the issue of self-image and self-esteem and realizing, you know, natural beauty is really prevalent, and the forces of the society are really more so against women than anybody else. You see in magazines, TV, and ads, all these different things. You don't really see a lot that's you know, structuring how men are supposed to look necessarily, or that's really tearing down the image of what natural beauty is for a man. But you see everywhere you go. I mean, there's products and you know, ads and all kinds of different stuff. That this is what beauty is for a woman. This is what your hair should look like. This is how skinny you should be.
Right,
How
right.
all of that
True.
stuff. And I think it really affects. And I mean, it affects all women. You know, and it's something that I felt was important to address from a man's perspective, saying that I recognize it, and I think I want people to see in the mirror what I see or what everybody else should see. And, you know, once you see yourself in a positive light, not me being unrealistic, but at least, you know, loving yourself enough to want to see your best self in the mirror. And if you don't see that, you know, the metaphor is to wash the mirror and see, you know, clean up the reflection that you're looking at so you can really see beauty. And,
It's powerful.
you know, at the time that song, you know, it touched some people, but recently it took another step, and I decided, you know, it's kind of pushed with people asking me, when are you going to do a video for this? When are you going to do a video? And I never did. And eventually I decided to do a lyric video that was featuring selfies that were submitted by women around the world.
Oh, wow.
And you can go to the homepage of my website, ElijahBland.com. It's right there on the homepage, and it's the lyric video for that's featuring real women that, you know, look just like anybody else. It's not, you know, a bunch of supermodels. It's not a bunch of artists. There are artists in there. There are singers, songwriters. There are makeup artists. There are everything. Women in business. But throughout the video, there's just real women who have insecurities, who have things that they want to improve about themselves, but who have things that they love about themselves. That's what I'm really trying to promote.
Well, we got about 5 minutes left, Elijah, so I want to let the people hear your music. I got a song ready called "For the Record." It's a pretty nice song. It's kind of got that Genuine touch, huh? or that what's the other dude named Maxwell touch. So I'm gonna play a couple of minutes. Elijah Bland on the Midnight Hour Radio Show. For the Record.
Put the needle on the record, baby, and let it go around slowly. I know we're meant to be together, baby. And I would wait again if I had to, just as patiently. But for the record, I've got to say, baby, it's fitting in the groove so perfectly. I've had a lot of 45s and I'm finished with that single life, and I wanna make enough love so that we know we belong on a record, baby. Let me play your favorite love song, and I don't mind if we repeat it. Now flip it to the B-side. You know I love the B-side. Oh, that's where it gets deep, baby. You know I love it when it's deep, baby. You know I said I'll never, 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 never leave you. And when I said it all, I meant it. And now we're right where we need to be, yeah. Oh, moments like these need to be documented. So that's why, for the record, I've got to say, baby, I just gotta say, it's fitting in the groove so perfectly.
Put the needle on the record.
Don't even destroy that. Don't do that.
Hey, Elijah, man.
This is hot.
That was definitely hot. I like that a lot.
You gonna let her put the needle on the record, baby, huh?
Put the needle on the record.
Now that was totally unexpected.
Right.
That's why I played that song.
When it dropped, we put the needle on the record. We was all like, "All right, where the record at?"
Right.
You know what the record is.
That was awesome.
You know
man.
what the needle is too.
Yeah.
That was awesome. That was awesome. That almost has like